Bam. Let's get into this BMF documentary. Vice TV just dropped. Let's see what they talking about.
In my career as a drug trafficker for BMF, I did about 250 or so runs between cocaine, millions of dollars, pills, guns.
Every single trip, Jabari takes his life in his hands.
You have to be ready to die for that cocaine. You have to be ready to lie, steal, and kill so that cocaine or that money can go from A to B.
Mexico's finest is being trafficked across the nation by BMF, or Black Mafia Family.
BMF is the Walmart, the Costco, the Sam's Club of the cocaine.
The Walmart, the Costco. You go for the load. Come and get a load.
Trade. We're talking the massive amount of cocaine.
This 500-person enterprise supplies over 25 cities across 3 time zones. It is headed by a pair of brothers, Demetrius Meech and Terry T. Flenory.
If you're scared, stay where you at. Don't get in that car, because they know where your family lives. March 16th, 2004 was a bad day.
Jabari leaves St. Louis for LA in a limousine riddled with traps.
Traps are modifications to a vehicle that can't be recognizable by law enforcement.
The limo is stretched in the middle, so now you got 10 feet worth of compartments that you can put the drugs in.
Traps in Jabari's limo are concealing nearly $600,000. He pulls onto I-44 and sirens roar.
Get pulled over by the police, I don't care, it's my job, right? Occupational hazard.
Jabari plays the role as rehearsed.
He asked me, you got any money in the car? I said, yeah, maybe $30 or some change. No, do you have money?
Backup arrives. Detectives swarm Jabari's limo.
But I'm watching everything. They come back out of the car, nothing. But when that good old boy came back with that hill.
No, do you got the money? That money that's in the car. That money. You know what I'm saying?
This off, I knew it was going down. You know what that good old boy said? When he came back, knocked on that glass, boom, boom. He pulled up that vacuum sealed money. He said, you.
Cops pressure Jabari to talk, but he sticks to the BMF code.
Death before dishonor. You don't allow the feds, the police, or anybody else infiltrate BMF.
Law enforcement can't detain someone for having cash, even a titanic amount. They have to prove it's connected to dirty business, so Jabari is released.
The big concern came after I got back to Atlanta and nobody was talking to me.
T felt like Jabari was gonna tell. He's like, man, he's not gonna hold up. I don't trust him. T was making other suggestions.
I didn't know if the feds was coming. I didn't know if BMF was coming. I didn't know if I was taking a dirt nap.
After days of sweating, Jabari is paid a visit.
Salsa came to pick me up. There wasn't no call. It was just a pull up. He had that look.
In a scene straight out of Scarface, Sosa delivers a trembling Jabari to the boss.
Meech said the coldest, most gangster thing he could ever say. We're gonna change the plan up. Limos can't carry enough. We're doing something different. More money, less work. Looking like, what? I'm not gonna die? And I'm gonna make more money?
3 weeks later, on Easter Sunday,
got me a fresh new ID, Kenneth Torrey Collins, so I went right back on the road.
No kingpins trafficked with the swagger of BMF.
Nobody in law enforcement could get over the fact that there was a successful national black drug organization that kept their shit together.
That's how it be. They don't let you go. Man, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. It's time. Let's get to the bag. That's why they be like. That's why I be like that. They know. They let them up. Once you get out of this,
flew under the radar and dealing directly with Mexican cartels.
BMF's legacy should be way bigger than the cartel. BMF was a cultural movement.
People weren't throwing money like that. For years afterwards, the strippers would say, y'all ain't doing it like BMF.
So you know the strippers gonna say that. They trying to finesse you. Yeah. BMF is a high organized organization too. You did.
The Flenory brothers built a cocaine syndicate unlike any feds had seen, painting white lines from coast to coast.
I'd never seen so much money just with monies and white teeth.
Every entertainer, athlete, or whatever, everybody want to live like they selling kilos.
BMF doesn't lurk in the shadows. Using an entertainment company as a front, they stunt hard to keep up appearances.
And the few times I went out with them, it blew my head off.
BMF is a circus.
BMF rich.
But there's one clear ringleader.
He was Demetrius Flenory. He is the show.
That's the American dream. Everybody want to live like they sell dope.
The lifestyle is a far cry from the street in Detroit where they sold rocks as teens.
Demetrius tested out of math and English coming to high school, so he was already a brilliant person.
Demetrius, where everybody likes him, and he doesn't try to be liked. He just got that aura about him.
Terry, on the other hand, is quiet, and he don't want to seem like he's soft or he's in the shadow of his brother.
It was a rivalry there going on. Terry had to be better or do better than his big brother.
Their childhood is rough. Demetrius and Terry live in a neglected area of Detroit called The Hole.
They were really poor, man. It was almost sad.
Demetrius and Terry had to stay the same size in order to switch clothes with each other.
Demetrius takes odd jobs, but isn't earning enough. He sees one industry thriving in his neighborhood.
A cheap drug with a speedy high. They say crack cocaine can make a fat woman skinny.
I've seen people not feed their children, not buy food for them, not buy shoes for them, not pay their rent.
Growing up in the height of the crack epidemic was like Chernobyl. Every black family was hit.
Everyone could do it and make it.
I saw my mother smoke crack. My mother was one of the most beautiful women you've ever seen. To see her go to like 90 pounds.
Devastation for some means opportunity for others. Local dealer Edric E.D. Boyd is raking it in, as are his corner boys.
Demetrius wanted that American dream that they didn't seem to be able to find.
Ready for the game, Demetrius asks Edric for a job.
I'm riding on the handlebars while we selling drugs and not even knowing that we could get in that much trouble.
Demetrius's people skills mixed with Terry's head for numbers makes the Flenorys a dream team.
They just blew up. Edric would keep upping the amounts that he would give them.
My role, I've always done it. I would go and get the bag. I'd go pick the packages up, bring it back.
Flush with cash, the boys get flash.
Run DFC came out, we rocking Kango, Adidas, no shoestrings in them, big gold ropes. Yeah, we rocking all that.
Meech looks up to Run for style, but another man for business.
Say hello to my little friend!
And we would watch that practically every day, all day. We actually wore the tape out.
He watched Scarface every day. He said we wore the tape out. That's one of my favorite movies too. That's Scarface. I was pretty sure Scarface was plenty people's favorite movie. Everybody got their favorite movie they watch.
Demetrius' whole dream was to be bigger than Scarface, but he's going to do it smarter and strategically.
We got to expand. New York, Chicago, LA.
But the drug game is dangerous. Both brothers take a bullet. Meech in the neck, Terry in the eye.
Detroit was small, and there was a lot of dealers there, and there's only so many people you can sell to.
The Flenory brothers realize their potential is limited by their market.
In 90, Demetrius goes to Atlanta after him and I breaks up.
Seated at the intersection of multiple highways, the ATL is ideal for moving drugs from Florida to Michigan or west to California.
Meech believed that if he could sell a better product at a lower price, that he could do well in Atlanta.
Cocaine is called work or yayo. In bulk, it's known as weight, and it's Sosa's job to get it where it needs to go.
Everywhere I go, I knew this guy kept them. So I could curbside check the bag in half hour before the flight. I would tip each one of $5,000, put all the tags on it, make it look good. They pay them guys to be putting it on. You got 50 kilos, that's heavy. I get a wing seat, and I sit there and I watch it come up. Man, it was exciting, adrenaline. It felt sexy, you know, just like, yeah, got their ass.
Meech conquers Atlanta.
Straight up, he just doing it good, wasn't he? On the real. As long as everybody get paid, everybody can party in the shade. You know what I'm saying? You did. Everybody get paid. Everybody, that was so smooth. Damn, they was taking 50 of them on the plane like that, on a regular plane. Killing them.
But the Flenorys can only sell as much blow as they can get their hands on.
Drug dealing is just like anything else. If you don't have the supply chain and distribution, you can't have growth.
In the mid-90s, Meech and Terry get a connect in Texas.
Texas was where we really first started getting a hold of some consistency and some weight.
More weight allows the Flenorys to drop a franchise. In cities like St. Louis and Louisville, they convince local talent why they're the plug.
Why reinvent the wheel? You have the people already in place that know the city. We're just going to offer them a better product.
Meech and Terry even get rival gangs like Bloods and Crips to work together.
It wasn't always like fighting and competition because everybody had a plate that was full.
Yeah.
But expansion brings exposure. The name Meech crosses the desk of dogged DEA agent Jack Harvey.
Meechy was named by an informant as the suspected shooter of Dennis Kingsley Walker, another Detroit guy who had relocated to Atlanta.
Meech would be considered a Teflon Don. Although he may have been charged, nothing actually stuck.
But Agent Harvey vows to keep an eye on Meech. In 1999, Meech and Terry hit the motherlode when they earned the trust of the Mexican cartel.
They went from a low-budget Amex to a black card with no limit.
Next thing you know, the bag was there. It was off. We never ran out.
Terry moves to Los Angeles to manage the relationship with the cartel. The Flenorys have the weight to be wholesalers. Now they just need a name. Everything is falling into place for Black.
Yeah, that's one thing about them. When you meet the cartel, you never run out. Because they make it.
Mafia Family. Until.
September 11 had a huge impact on the BMF.
Today, we take permanent and aggressive steps to improve the security of our airways.
The bad guys stopped going to airports because they knew airports were flooded with law enforcement.
You probably couldn't get on a flight with a false bottom suitcase no more with some drugs. You had to figure out another way.
With the feds focused on the sky, BMF turns to the road and an age-old hack.
Traps, they've been around since the beginning of time. Al Capone driving his Ford Model T, hiding liquor from the police.
The mastermind behind BMF's traps is a man in Miami named Piorino Varelli.
Varelli is a mad scientist.
Esto è una cosa che funziona así. È una security compartment con una safe. Yeah, un compartimento segreto.
For the frame of the trap, Varelli uses state-of-the-art materials.
It was aircraft-grade aluminum because you want it light, right? You don't want the car leaning because you got 300 pounds of cocaine in it.
Varelli is meticulous. His modifications are undetectable to the human eye, and his traps are deoxygenated or airtight.
As a traffic, you think about the dog, and what do you do to police? Because you're like, what is the dog gonna smell?
Varelli's true genius is in designing complex combinations for each mobile safe.
For the streets that are watching, I'll give you a sample of what it would be.
One of the ways to unlock them is you would turn on the engine,
You have to have your foot on the brake, the defroster on, turn the four-way flashers,
Put the driver's side window down halfway and
blow the horn.
Do the hokey pokey.
Actuators would go.
And holding another button down while operating your window switch would now operate your safe.
Un compartimento secreto.
a trooper is not going to know that.
The traps allow BMF to grow exponentially. In the late 90s, BMF was pulling in $1 million a year. By 2002, they're making that amount each week.
None of it was more liquid than me. Well, I can go grab $1 million, throw it out the car, and goddamn it, go grab a couple more.
The first time you ever see $1 million, it's like the first time you seen a naked woman that you were about to have sex with.
Cherry had a crew that count the money. He like all the dollar bills facing one way. If it's out of order, he'll have them restack it all over again.
$1 million in hundreds, you breeze through that. But the 20s, somebody's been holding that 20. It's wrinkled up. It's been on a donkey. You get so bougie when you're like, man, I gotta count $1 million in 20s.
The brothers were making so much cash, they had to spend it because they couldn't store it.
The Flanorys spend their cash on whips.
Meech bought a Bentley Azure.
So even though you know what I'm saying, having the even with the money machine, you still got to straighten out the money to put it in the money machine to count it. To you know what I'm saying?
And Mary J. Blige did that Pepsi commercial with it.
Meech wears his drug money for all to see, including the cops.
Meech purchased $1 million Piaget watch.
That was sparkling. That was shiny.
Meech felt like, I'm gonna die balling. You catch me, you're gonna catch me in a couple $1 million worth of jewelry, because if I gotta sit down for 30 years, I'm gonna have some memories.
Meech's main spot for making memories, the strip club.
When BMF went into a club, they didn't buy a section. They bought the entire club, all the liquor.
They would be passing out bottles of Moet like you're passing out paper napkins.
Big Meech was normally mobbed up.
White tees, jewelry, cocked hats came in deep.
It could be upwards from 60 to 75 people, just in his entourage.
Where they were smoking the best marijuana.
$700 an ounce weed.
It was like, before I leave, can I take some of this? They would be like, yeah, go ahead and get what you need. Grab a handful, put it in your purse. Deuces.
It's all free. Free 99.
It's like a fishing rod. It's how you reel the real money in. I go out and spend $50,000, $100,000 every night. Now you got a couple dudes been sitting in the corner watching that want to spend their couple $1 million with you. It's a gimmick.
Mexican cartels refuse small bills.
And it was smart. It was easier for dudes to spend their money with them, seeing that, because a dude that got some money, couple $100,000 in the street, he don't really trust nobody. You know what I'm saying? Or niggas that's even in the street with $1 million or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They ain't trusting too many people, so they see them in the club spending that money. That's how he gaining trust. He gaining trust and make it easy, way easier for people to come just throw the money at him and spend it with him. You know what I'm saying? It was smart. Genius.
Bills, so BMF finds a use for them.
They would have garbage bags filled up with ones and fives. That would be their tip money at the strip club.
The phrase "make it rain," you should see BMF in the dictionary.
Meech gave me a stack and said, tip yourself, my hand's getting tired. Bet.
Meech's wild lifestyle isn't just a lure, it's a distraction.
Even though they were extravagant in their spending, they were pretty careful in their actual criminal conduct.
And I was good at being in front of the camera and not doing nothing wrong but balling. Balling is not a crime.
What law enforcement didn't realize is there was a shadow crew that was moving to work across the country.
Discipline is key when you're trafficking astronomical quantities of cocaine.
Everything that you do is to not raise attention to yourself.
To stay off the radar, the car must be immaculate.
I'm looking for any remnants of drugs. After they vacuum, I'm going over the car. One time my tongue got numb because I touched something that was a flake and I tasted it and it was cocaine. That dog smells that molecule. It's over for me.
Over.
The route must be extensively researched.
Definitely don't go through Arkansas. It'll cut 3 hours off your time, but it's going to give you 30 years. Which one you want?
The timing must...
Arkansas so hot.
must be precise.
I deliberately went from place to place, sleeping in little cheap hotels and to see when the police shift's changing. I had the whole country on schedule.
I go around the highway for about a good 2 hours to make sure that the coast is clear.
Even the comms have to be on lock.
Whoever you just left, you need to have a phone that's dedicated only to them. They don't call their mama, their daddy, their wife on that phone. You have another phone for that person receiving the work. The third phone I would have just for my wife.
It was a necessity that you keep new numbers. When I'm done with a mission, I discard it, and then I get a new one.
Each element of BMF's sprawling enterprise is sophisticated and deliberate.
Your traditional drug dealer, but this trap house, you'll have someone with a scale inside, cooking crack cocaine. This will be your typical Waffle House operation, right? Demetrius Flenory chose not to do that. This is going to be your steakhouse operation.
I got lavish homes, lavish spots all over this.
These were upscale neighborhoods that these houses were in. Your neighbors thinking, okay, maybe this is a limousine service, so it would explain the traffic.
Terry never believed in leaving his limousine outside. Every house that we had, we knocked the wall down and made it where the limousine would fit up in there.
In each of the 11 hubs in their network, Meech and Terry own multiple homes, though never in their own name.
There was the lab house. This house is where all of the drugs was being taken to. Then there was a whole separate house called the money.
Dog, they knocked down walls. They knocked down a wall. Every time they buy a house, they knock down a wall to park the limousine in the house. They snap. Making it happen.
Money house.
You never mix the two because in the event of a home invasion, everything is gone.
It was like these guys read the handbook on selling drugs.
Meech and Terry have a shared objective. Get that coin. But they disagree on how to do it.
Meech and Terry, they were like night and day.
They were totally opposites and had different philosophies on how the drug trade should go.
The Flanorys are getting pure cocaine from the cartels.
The main unforgettable characteristic of cocaine is the smell, a real strong gasoline smell.
Meech moves fast, getting rid of his work as soon as he gets it. But T takes his time and cuts his coke.
For every 7 kilos, there was actually 1 kilo added through the agent that they were adding to it. And they were pressing it back together and rewrapping it in 2 kilo form.
If you had 1,000 kilos, you could add about 150 kilos. It greatly increases profitability.
Wow, that's how strong, that's how potent they was getting. That's how potent the bricks they was getting. Wow, out of for every 1,000, they putting an extra 150 on that month. Extra 150. Imagine them numbers. Wow. On the real, that was just the fuck off money, shit. That was just the fuck off money. That was the money they was fucking off them extra. Damn, that shit had to be like 150% type shit. Wave has 100%, 100, probably like 125% pure, 150%.
Ability.
All of that takes time, and you run the risk of law enforcement discovering where the workshop is.
The dynamic between T and Meech was not sibling rivalry, but two grown men who are both bosses that think that they could run their organization better.
It is the competition between brothers that will eventually decimate the Black Mafia family's empire. As kids, the Flenorys' problem was not having any money. As adults, their problem is having too much.
You don't want to keep all this bulk currency on you. A robbery, fire, anything could just eliminate this money.
To most, the obvious answer is bring the Benjamins to a bank. To a drug lord, that'd be like turning yourself in.
A person may be a drug dealer and he's gotten $200,000 in proceeds. Well, he can't take that $200,000 and deposit it into the bank because it will have red flags.
In 1970, Richard Nixon did fellow crooks dirty.
Well, I'm not a crook.
When he signed into law the Bank Secrecy Act, requiring that financial institutions report to the IRS daily transactions in excess of $10,000. And in 1984, the IRS recruited more narcs.
If you go out, you buy a BMW and you bought it with cash, the car dealership has to file a form.
If you spend $10,000 or more, yeah. I think they still own that.
Realtors, jewelers, hoteliers all have to alert the IRS when someone drops 10 large or more. To spend their money without raising suspicion, BMF has to launder it.
When I was a money launderer working undercover, I had a number of businesses that were used to launder drug proceeds. You want to get yourself involved in cash businesses, so it's giving you a front, but it's also offering you an asset. If you've got a restaurant, well, that's ideal.
Terry had a fish house. He had several locations in St. Louis.
They had some good ass fish, but to be honest with you, don't nobody want to eat that food because they wasn't cleaning that bitch. That was nasty, but it had good food.
Terry invests in everything, from a luxury car dealership to a daycare. But Terry's most brazen scheme.
The lady said it was nasty. That's probably because they said the food was good, but that's probably because they basically was just using it for the front and instead of really, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they should have did that better too. You know what I'm saying? Made that more stable. Them businesses that they would still have right now if they would did it right.
He's enlisting the state of Michigan to launder his money for him.
The daily report number 4 today is free.
BMF's lottery ticket scam worked by having sources to identify people who had winning lottery tickets.
BMF then pays the lucky person cash for their winning ticket.
Now I can file a tax return and show that I got income from the lottery, even though I didn't.
As if to taunt authorities, BMF washes $1 million with winning lottery tickets.
It's an ingenious scheme.
True to form, Meech's approach to money laundering is the polar opposite of Terry's.
BMF is BMF, BMF.
The vision that BMF had was for them to be the #1 entertainment company in the world. Everything from promotions, touring, recording, feature films, you name it.
BMF Entertainment catapults Meech into the big leagues. He rubs elbows with hip-hop's elite. But the label goes all in on one artist, Lou Vinci.
Lou Vinci was an up-and-coming rapper who never came up.
Burns, when he first brought me the Blue Da Vinci CD, I just threw the whole stereo away. Just with the CD in it. It was just that bad.
Even BMF members admitted that it was whack.
BMF Entertainment is the perfect cover for BMF the Drug Ring in more ways than one.
BMF would do these concerts. They would have to move equipment with these large road cases on wheels. Some had a false bottom under it that would contain drugs, money, and or weapons, and they're swapped during the concert.
With no social media to amplify Blue's name, Meech invests in the medium of the day, print.
Renita Clay started off as a nail technician, and she also began publishing a monthly magazine called Juice Magazine.
Juice was another way to clean the green.
When these magazines were put out on the magazine stand, BMF would send people just to go buy 100 copies just to launder their money right back through it again.
Meech's profile has never been bigger, and neither has the target on his back.
Demetrius Flenory was identified by a witness, and a warrant was secured for his arrest.
Over 25 live rounds leave windows shattered and Lamont Gertie lifeless in the street. Anthony Wolf Jones is riddled with bullets, one tearing through his chest. He's rushed to Grady Memorial, where death finishes what the shooter started.
Anthony Wolf Jones was a former bodyguard for Puff Daddy.
You cross the line.
Yeah, Puff Daddy bodyguard.
The big bad wolf gonna blow your house down.
Wolf was acquitted along with Combs on weapons charges in connection with a New York nightclub shooting.
Despite Wolf's reputation, he and Meech are tight. That is until closing time on November 11th, 2003.
Wolf and Meech had a great relationship, but like anything, all it takes is a broad to get in the mix and get up.
For Meech and the crew, it's a typical night of booze, bud, and broad.
Always the 304.
Then Wolf shows up, and sees his ex hanging with BMF.
Women were leaving their men for the guys in BMF left and right. These super rich, so these girls are like, this, I'm going over here with these.
Allegedly, Wolf puts his hands on the woman. Meech steps in.
He kind of grabbed me, and then the security came.
They kicked Wolf out the club, which...
Because Meech wasn't wrong, whether or not, you know what I'm saying? He did the right thing by stopping it. Like, man, you ain't gonna put your hands on me. You know what I'm saying? It don't make sense.
That's a huge no-no. There's girls in there, so it was embarrassing and disrespectful.
Anthony Wolf Jones calls Lamont Gertie to bring the guns.
Heat in hand, Gertie and the spurned Wolf post up on Meech's Cadillac.
Meech came out the door at the club.
Yeah, Wolf was emotional. See what that gets you? Being emotional is always, boy, you have to slow down and think, man. You have to slow down and think, man, in a situation, man. You have to for yourself.
On her, and he seen them, and they upped the guns, and there was shots fired. Meech turned around, and he got hit in the ass. Next thing you know, them guys was on the sidewalk, laying out there in the street, gunned down.
Atlanta Police Chief Richard Pennington announcing the arrest tonight, 15 and a half hours after Buckhead's Bar District became a shooting range.
Another associate of Meech, Amin Heights, known as Bull, he gets shot in the foot.
Meech seeks treatment for his gunshot wound. While at the hospital, he's taken into custody by Atlanta PD.
The interview starts bad. One of the homicide investigators asks Demetrius Flenory to have a seat, and Meech tells him, how the can I sit down when I got a bullet in my ass?
He made this statement about one of my guys jumped on top of me. So the interviewer says, well, like, you're the president? I mean, what's that all about? And Meech goes, no, that's just somebody just trying to make another $100. Like, Meech is a big celebrity. I really think he made the detectives so mad, the decision was made to charge him.
Based on shaky eyewitness testimony, Meech is charged with double homicide.
In Georgia, homicide is death penalty. So they was trying to give him the needle.
Meech has been good to the people of Atlanta, and they rally behind him.
Meech did not cooperate with law enforcement, which is he talks about death before dishonor, keep your mouth closed. So it just gives him even more street cred.
He became a huge celebrity when he was in jail.
People that started to march around with Free Meech t-shirts, and those shirts just absolutely drove me crazy.
The case against Meech is weak.
The APD did a gunpowder residue test on the two guys that had bullet holes in them, and Height did come out positive. Meech did not.
It really was just a dog's breakfast of a case. All the cases in the world you could bring, you wait till the one where he's actually justified.
Meech, cocky as ever, appeals to the court for permission to break house arrest.
But as the evidence kept growing weaker, the court didn't really have the juice to deny his request to make a trip to Cancun, Mexico.
Meech had a big-ass plane full of people. Everybody on there was going to the party. He paid for it. You had all kinds of movie stars, all the mega goods and music industry people. You name it, everybody was in there.
This is a guy that's flaunting, I got money, I beat this charge, I'm just gonna keep getting bigger and better each time. But what it's doing is infuriating Terry. Terry's thing is, sit your ass down somewhere, man. Chill. But Meech can't chill.
I can't say to tone myself down because then I wouldn't be being me. I am the man that I always wanted to be.
Terry is furious, convinced that Meech's behavior will attract more attention from the law.
Terry was low-key. At this point, he was living good. Terry just wanted them to concentrate on being legit or appearing legit.
What T doesn't know is that 2 weeks before Meech's arrest, the feds opened a multi-state, multi-agency investigation on him. Despite the next-level showboating of Meech, it is Terry who the feds are onto.
When the Club Chaos shootings happened, Detroit was cooking up a case on Terry Flenory and a wiretap on a couple of Terry's phones.
Phone use is another way the Flenorys are oil and water.
Demetrius Flenory is not going to be on the phone. Terry's a talker. Terry can't keep the phone out of his hand.
Of Terry's 10 or so phones, Detroit DEA is wiretapping several of them.
I don't like with Earn. I'm gonna have to go with Earn. No choice. That's who you with. Quit doing what you want to do and do what I tell you to do.
Throughout the course of Operation Motor City Mafia, feds will intercept hundreds of calls with Terry.
I need you. Fly to Florida and drive this car back to Detroit for me. Okay, when you need me to do that, sir? As soon as possible. Yes, sir.
In Atlanta, a parallel investigation is ears up on BMF. Low-level members, but they're working their way to the top.
We started with, I think, 13 people. 2 months later, we had over 350 people in the minimization hearings.
With access to operations, the feds are able to intercept runs. From Meech's camp, Jabari Hayes on March 16th. From Terry's crew, Pig and Playboy in Missouri on April 5th. And on April 11th, after Meech decides limos aren't big enough, Jabari Hayes is pulled over again.
I was riding in an RV 112 miles away from St. Louis. I was going to drop the load, fly down to Atlanta. I just had a new baby. I have a fiance. I get pulled over and I'm loaded. The officer asked me to step out the RV. He's like, do you party? I know what party means for white people. I was like, no, sir.
The drug dog says otherwise.
The kilos are in suitcases in the tour bus. If you didn't have compartments and traps, we called it cowboying because you was out there like a cowboy, just riding.
They find the drug load, and that's 113 kilos, and that's worth multiple millions of dollars.
I got house arrest. I told Meech, look, I get 3 hours to go to church. If you need me to make some runs, I'm with it.
Terry responds to the bust by increasing precautions.
Terry implemented a system to where when those cars came in, Dogman was responsible for getting those vehicles swept.
Now I run them to my guy and he would make sure they were swept for bugs.
Meech responds by bawling out.
There's nothing about a surveillance of Demetrius Flenory that's normal.
June 21st, 2004. Bryant and Jack are clocking out when they get a tip. Birthday party for Big Meech, club compound.
6 hours into the surveillance, I kind of nodded off a little bit and I wake up and I thought that I was in a dream because I see a lion walking down the street.
Lou was in touch with an animal.
Giraffe and a tiger. He brought these wild animals to his birthday party.
He making up for the childhood he never had. So he's just like a big kid.
It's big even for Meech. His name in 6-foot lights, a BMF ice sculpture, and the women.
They're nude, but it's just body paint all over them.
And the club was stupid thick. And people were passing me blunts and bottles.
On the neck, another milli on the wrist. Bottle after bottle, getting busy off the fridge.
I just kept wiping my eyes like, am I dreaming? This is real.
I was sick that I didn't go. I was on house arrest.
We love to spend our money. We can't take none of this shit with us. None. Ain't no armored trucks pulling up at no funeral.
Meech knows the feds are on his tail, and he doesn't give them. In fact, he bankrolls a $500,000 music video of BMF Entertainment's.
Meech was doing his thing at that time. We got niggas in our mob from everywhere, Milwaukee.
Soul artist.
Force truck fully loaded with the carbon 15. And when it's time for beef, I carbine. So many whips pulling up, you would think it's a car ring.
Featuring helicopter aerials, a caravan of luxury vehicles, and himself.
Yo, Meech, I got the deal of a lifetime.
Yeah, I don't, man, your deal don't mean nothing to me.
There's a 18-wheeler truck moving through the video and wrapped in this vinyl that says BMF.
Meech may as well take out a billboard advertising his drug cartel. In the middle of 2004, that's exactly what he does.
I'm driving into work one day and there's Meech, like he's a CEO behind a desk.
The BMF billboard said the world is BMF. They were modeled after Scarface.
Meech leases multiple billboards around Atlanta.
In their minds, it was BMF Entertainment, but the streets was like, these is the cartel. The cartel got billboards up.
I think Meech put up the billboard for the same reason that Ulysses mocked the Cyclops after he blinded him. It's wanton hubris.
Meech's hubris is the final straw for Terry.
There was an interception of a phone call. Terry was just commiserating with his sister about Meech's wild conduct.
Terry made some comment that Meech's activities were going to put them away for life. He could do a nickel, but he couldn't do a dime.
Despite dealing drugs for nearly 2 decades, Terry has never spent a night in jail. He'll do whatever it takes to keep it that way.
Terry put a hit out on his brother. On the wiretaps, Terry told his sister, I got to get rid of him. The guy that Terry paid to kill his brother told Demetrius, the guy asked Demetrius, so what you want me to do? He said, well, keep the money and act as if you never caught up to me.
The envy and that rivalry
Wow.
had been there since the 80s.
Demetrius was just so tore up about it. He didn't never think that his little brother would go to those lengths.
While the Flenory's beef, the Atlanta task force lays in wait.
During this investigation with the BMF, you don't have any cooperating sources. What do? Sit back and wait for them to make mistakes.
In the summer of 2004,
Damn, what if he would knock Meech off? That would have been crazy. Wow. What if he really knocked Meech off, dog? That would have been crazy.
two people close to Meech make critical mistakes.
Omari McCree was one of the first dealers that we were able to capture on a wire.
With all of the heat BMF is facing, Meech makes a change.
Meech has ordered everybody. Nobody's to sell anything. You go dark, nothing.
But Omari is sitting on 9 kilos, and he's got a buyer. Mistake number 1. In direct defiance of Meech's decree, Omari coordinates the sale with his buddy Jeffrey Lair on a wiretapped line.
Jeffrey Lair was stopped by the Atlanta Police Apex unit. The 9 kilos were seized.
Though they now have a known BMF member on intent to distribute, the task force takes a gamble.
I had a quick conversation with Jeff, identified myself, took the drugs, told him to have a nice day.
I questioned my partner. Why wasn't Jeffrey Lair arrested? We're going to look like we're on training day.
It was a pivotal moment because the minute we got back, they couldn't wait. They were on the phone.
Jeff calls Meech's assistant Yogi and tells her what happened. Mistake number 2, Yogi hands the phone to Meech.
We finally got Demetrius Flenory talking on a telephone. And I was there real time when it happened. There was high fives, I'll admit.
Their high-stakes gamble pays off. The task force now has what it needs to secure search warrants on Meech's Atlanta properties. November 23rd, 2004. In a series of coordinated raids, authorities hit multiple BMF properties.
Just about every search warrant we did, we would come across guns.
To show the connection to the BMF and Scarface, we would seize a lot of the photographs. After a while,
Man, that don't even seem like that was 21 years ago. Wow.
our evidence technicians say, we got enough Scarface. We can make a Scarface museum with all the photos.
At the Space Mountain House, Fed sees BMF jerseys, a fake Tennessee driver's license, and kilo wrappings, but no Meech.
There was a pot on the stove. It was still hot. There was a blunt burning.
Meech had the task force on payroll, so he knew every move that was going on beforehand.
Demetrius Flenory, by all accounts, he ran out in his underwear. He was in a robe.
There was no great amount of drugs seized. No defendants were there, but they did leave a couple of vehicles behind, including this Hummer stretch limo. We highly suspected this vehicle had traps in it. They attacked that vehicle. They put it up on a lift. They had scopes and mirrors and all the tools, and they didn't find any traps.
That vehicle was confiscated, seized, and sold at auction by the DEA.
Though they don't get enough to take.
They couldn't even find it, the traps in there. You know it was traps in there. They couldn't find it. They just couldn't find it. You know it was. Come on now. That one when they was about to go get the traps in, that had traps. They just couldn't find it. Got more strategic. Wow.
Take Meech down, the task force considers it a win.
We shut him down. We ran him out of Atlanta.
Meech flees to Miami.
That's another thing, too. They like to see you run, boy. The feds, they like to see you run.
Though he's in a new city, he's up to his old ways. Trafficking, partying, and renting a pad for $30,000 a month.
Meech wanted to find a place where it was a studio. We actually rented out Gloria and Stefan's old home.
For the next 11 months, Operation Motor City Mafia builds their case.
There has to be confidence that we have enough evidence to convict everyone that we indict.
Believing incorrectly that it's his brother who's bringing the heat. Terry shuts off all communication, and Meech flies closer to the sun. In an audacious move, he buys Club Chaos, the site of his alleged double homicide, and renames it Club Babylon. He even sponsors welterweight boxer Zab Judah. Who wins the championship fight in Las Vegas.
The most ballsy and brazen was the Source Award for Blue Da Vinci.
You just show up at the Source Award, pass a bag, and now Barima McKnight, aka Blue Da Vinci, gets best up-and-coming rapper.
That was Payola.
Despite all the bravado, Meech must have known this could all come crashing down.
Oh, Blue Da Vinci had got Best Up-and-Coming Rapper Award?
At some point.
It's one thing to know. It's another thing to change.
Once you get addicted to that money and that lifestyle, it's hard to let go. Who wants to go back being a regular person when you got everything in the world?
We had a contact in outroad for Meech to go to Mexico. He had an opportunity to just leave the country.
He wouldn't take it because he didn't want to leave his people behind.
If I was for self, I could have grabbed a bunch of millions and been on somewhere where you can't be extradited. But that wasn't what I was out for.
And with Meech in striking distance, the feds make their move.
Well, it looked like maybe Meech was preparing for a war with law enforcement. Maybe he envisioned himself going down like Tony Montana.
Tony Montana, Tony Montana, Tony Montana, Tony Montana. Check up on my ears.
After 2 painstaking years on Operation Motor City Mafia, it's
say hello to my little friend.
Time to indict BMF.
We're ready to sweep these guys up, but the big concern is you don't want to have fugitives, especially the kingpins. So you want to grab them first.
Run out of Miami, Meech is in hiding.
The U.S. Marshals were tracking through phone records. They were pretty sure that they had him at this big house in Frisco.
I had $2.3 million, one of the demonstrations that I was on my way to go see the Meeches in Texas.
The feds breached the door. Meech is there.
He was standing out in the back on the phone. He saw him, but they couldn't get in the gate. So he called my mom and was told my mom to call me and tell me not to come. Don't show up.
Meech is cuffed. A swarm of agents scour the mansion.
There's a pound of marijuana and a whole lot of ecstasy pills and extensive amounts of jewelry worth about $700,000.
Stashed around the house, feds find 4 firearms and a mag of ammo to penetrate Kevlar.
They were ready to engage in a shootout.
But Meech doesn't unleash a hail of bullets.
I was getting kind of tired. You know me, I'm popping pills, smoking weed, freaking, getting money.
With Big Meech finally in the big house, the crosshairs train on Terry.
6 days later, Terry is identified and located in a suburb of St. Louis.
Terry was throwing a big gambling party where they were having fun, smoking good.
Agents bust in. They apprehend Terry, more than a dozen BMF associates, and over $600,000. October 26th, 2005 is the first night Terry Flenory spends in jail.
What a waste of a life for them, because they could have done anything. They turned out to be quite brilliant men.
The scope of the BMF takedown is legendary. Over 150 people are indicted, and $270 million in assets are seized.
The $274 million came from the seizures of houses, drugs, cars, jewelry. That was not the money that we made. We made billions.
Over $5 million in cash, 13 properties, 630 kilos of cocaine, and 35 vehicles are seized.
The cars and the jewelry gets converted into cash, and those funds get distributed among the various law enforcement agencies.
We're bringing hundreds of thousands of dollars to these agencies in forfeiture.
Everybody, even law enforcement, ate off Meech and Terry's plate, and they continued to for years to come.
It was 4 years later. Some BMF defendants are cooperating. A couple of them were saying, that Hummer limo, that does have traps in it. I eventually decided I'm going to have to find that vehicle and search it again.
That vehicle went through the hands of at least 3 owners.
I got a search warrant, seized it, and we brought in some Georgia State troopers who were known to be the best at finding traps. And these troopers could not find those traps.
The seats in the Hummer were taken out,
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
they were reinforced in our aircraft aluminum, so it was a very, very tight fit.
Special Agent Harvey throws a Hail Mary pass and brings in an SUV specialist.
Those people found the traps. In the traps were $875,000 in cash and 7 handguns.
For 4 years, that limo shuttled prom goers, bachelorette parties, corporate VIPs, and almost $1 million of drug money.
What I was gonna do when I came home was trace the VIN number through the DMV, rent it, and empty it out.
Put the money in the bag.
After serving 16 years of his 30-year sentence, Terry is granted compassionate release in 2020. Meech does 20 years behind bars and is released in 2024. The feds and streets alike wait to see what the Flenory brothers will do next.
There's a part of me that admired Meech.
Meech himself single-handedly with BMF created a culture. He took the lifestyle of a drug dealer, which was in the shadows, to throwing it in your face, and this is how we getting down.
There ain't no other crew like this in the world, and there never will be another. Not black. So you better enjoy this shit.